regime have begun. Hamas spokesman Abdul Latif Al-Qanu said in a statement that the group is currently focused on providing shelter and aid to its population, as well as rebuilding the devastated Gaza Strip. Al-Qanu also accused Israel of obstructing the implementation of the agreement's humanitarian protocol, adding that shelter and aid are humanitarian issues that cannot be delayed. The ceasefire agreement includes an initial truce phase of 42 days, during which a total of 33 Israeli prisoners and hundreds of Palestinian hostages will be released. In violation of Palestinian sovereignty, President Donald Trump affirmed that the United States will seize the Gaza Strip in order to rebuild it, and its inhabitants will be displaced to neighboring countries. At a press conference with Israeli war criminal and Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu, Donald Trump announced that the United States would assume a long-term ownership position over the Palestinian enclave. He also said that after a general demolition, he would rebuild the Gaza Strip to create economic development and jobs. His words, which flagrantly ignore Palestinian sovereignty and the right of this nation to have an independent state on its own territories, were applauded by Netanyahu, who stated that such a decision can change history.
The U.S. will take over the Gaza Strip, and we will do a job with it, too. We'll own it and be responsible for dismantling all of the dangerous unexploded bombs and other weapons on the site, level the site and get rid of the destroyed buildings, level it out, create an economic development that will supply unlimited numbers of jobs and housing for the people of the area.
Tribulations. He has a different idea, and I think it's worth paying attention to this. We're talking about it. He's exploring it with his people, with his staff. I think it's something that could change history, and it's worthwhile really pursuing this avenue. I think peace between Israel and Saudi Arabia is not only feasible, I think it's going to happen. I think if we had another half a year in your first term, it would have already happened.
True. Many more.
In the United States as well, pro-Palestinian protesters gathered near the White House on Tuesday as U.S. President Donald Trump held a press conference with Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu. Protesters marched chanting slogans and carrying posters expressing their support for the Palestinian people while condemning the Prime Minister's presence in the U.S. During the press conference, Trump stated that the Palestinians should be relocated from the Gaza Strip so that the United States can take control of the territory. In response to these statements, demonstrators expressed that there is no resettlement or transfer for the people of Gaza and that the only solution is for all Palestinians to return to the enclave. First U.S. military flight carrying immigrants deported to the illegal Guantanamo naval base took off Tuesday, marking the beginning of a controversial move by the Trump administration. The facility, historically used to detain terrorism suspects, will now be used as an immigration detention center. In statements to Fox News, White House spokeswoman Caroline Leavitt affirmed that the U.S. will not be allowed to be a dumping ground for illegal criminals from nations around the world. President Donald Trump defended the move, assuring that the base has the capacity to hold up to 30,000 migrants. Cuba recently rejected Trump's announcement decision to use the Guantanamo naval base to incarcerate tens of thousands of migrants he has proposed to forcibly expel. President of Colombia, Gustavo Petro, admitted that most of the commitments made by his administration have not been fulfilled and described the situation as fatal. During his speech, President Petro expressed his frustration with the lack of execution within his own government, assuring that the report of non-compliance is fatal since out of 195 commitments, 146 were not fulfilled. On several occasions, he insisted on the need to transform the governmental apparatus to achieve the changes promised in his political agenda. In this sense, Petro pointed out that many of his proposals face bureaucratic obstacles and lack of will within the state institutions themselves.
But I want to leave my concerns because this is the report of non-compliance and it is fatal, and I say this to the people because I am ashamed. Out of 195 commitments, 146 have not been fulfilled. The revolutionary president but not the government, and the government does not, because individually they have parallel agendas.
The 9th edition of the Salsa Festival, a unique event showcasing authentic Cuban music and popular dances, will be held in Havana, Cuba. This cultural event, one of the most awaited on the island, will be held from February 19th to the 23rd at the Havana Club 500 and will feature the participation of outstanding performers and orchestra such as Alberto Alvarez y su Son, Santiago Septet, and Los Bambam. In addition, the festival will include DJ sessions and dance classes, offering attendees the opportunity to learn from renowned Cuban dancers. This edition will also feature international artists such as Brunella Torp.